सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome back, all children. So after a weekend, after Saturday, Sunday, we are meeting again and we are going to continue with our interesting study to know something about what Bhagwan Krishna talked about in Bhagavad Gita. So as I told you last time, we will start now since we have completed the introduction and also we have completed the Dhyana Shlokas. And from today we will be going to the first chapter. So every day we are going to chant the first Dhyana Shloka and the last Dhyana Shloka as a Dhyanam or as a prayer to Bhagavad Gita. So what you can do today is, you can just listen to me how I chant, and from tomorrow, those of you who can chant with me, but mic off, muted mic, no unmuting, you can chant also along with me with the muted mic. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll chant. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunmanti Divyai Savaihi Vedai Sanga Padakramo Panishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidussura suraganaha devaya tasmai namaha. So now, as I said, from today for the next 1 or 2 days, we will know what Bhagwan Vyasacharya compiled in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. See, in the first chapter, like any other introduction in any other book, this is a stage. Like, initially, when a drama has to happen, what happens? A stage is set, correct? And the stage is set where you see what is likely to happen. You see all the sets there on the stage, and some of the characters will appear like that. Now, the first chapter is actually Vyasacharya, Bhagavan Vyasa, setting a stage for Bhagwan Krishna and Arjuna to come together. See, the characters have to be brought together, isn't it? So these characters, our two main characters are who? Bhagwan Krishna and Arjuna. Though there are so many others, these two are very important for us. Why? Because Krishna is the Guru and Arjuna is the Shishya. So now, where do they meet? We have already said that they meet in the battleground in the kuru-kṣhetra. And one thing you must understand, the chapters in Bhagavad Gita are given a name Yoga. Like we say chapter 1, chapter 2. So all the chapters in Bhagavad Gita are given the name Yoga. And a special name is given for each chapter depending upon what? On the context. On what is going to be discussed there. Depending on that, there is a name given. And the first chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Why it is called like that, I will tell you in the appropriate situation when we come to the proper verses. Then I will tell you. Then you will remember it better. Now only if I tell you, you will not remember it. So I'll tell you later. Now what happens here? Now the battlefield is ready and the Kaurava army, the 11 Akshohini Sainyas of Kaurava army and the 7 Akshohini Sainyas of Pandava army, they have all got together. And the blind king Dhritarāśhtra, somebody asked me the other day, did the blind king Dhritarāśhtra also go to fight? No, he didn't. Why? Because he was blind and he could not go and fight. But then our king Dhritarāśhtra, he wanted to know what is happening in the battlefield. So what happens now? He wants to know exactly what is going on. And so he has a very, very trusted aide. Who is this trusted aide? Trusted aide means somebody whom Dhritarāśhtra can trust. This person's name is Sañjaya. Sañjaya is also the driver of Dhritarashtra's chariot. And also Sañjaya is a very intelligent person, very, very intelligent person. And Dhritarashtra depends on him for many things. And he keeps Sañjaya next to him, Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra king wants to know what happened in the battlefield. So, how does Sañjaya know now? He's sitting in the palace along with the blind king Dhritarashtra. How will he know, Sañjaya, what is happening? It is said that Bhagavan Vyasa, who compiled this entire teaching of Bhagavad Gita, he gave a special gift to this Sañjaya. What is that gift? The gift of seeing something which was happening in the battlefield and listening also. So, the entire Bhagavad Gita is actually what is Sañjaya is reporting to Dhritarashtra. So, when we say Bhagavan uvācha, when we say Arjuna uvācha, all these things, when Bhagavan spoke, when Arjuna spoke, who is reporting it? It is our beloved friend Sañjaya who is reporting everything to Dhritarashtra. And so, the first verse, today what we do is, we will talk about the first verse and also a little bit about the armies of both the sides as explained by Vyasacharya, Bhagavan Vyasa. And why is it necessary? It is necessary to understand what kind of a stage was there, what was the kind of situation there, how the armies were there, what was the reason why Bhagavad Gita teaching started. To know all this, Bhagavan Vyasa wants us to have one small idea, little bit of idea about what was happening on the battlefield. So, the first verse was actually spoken by Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra means the blind king, and he asked this question. Dhritarāśhtra uvācha dharma-kṣhetre kuru-kṣhetre samavetā yuyutsavaḥ māmakāḥ pāṇḍavāśhchaiva kimakurvata sañjaya. So what did he ask? He said, hey Sañjaya, there is one very, very sacred place in our Rajya called as Kuru-kṣhetra. And unfortunately, in that very sacred place, two armies have appeared and they have gathered. Okay? And who are they? So he says, hey Sañjaya, I know that one of the armies are māmakāḥ. My children are there on one side and Pandavas on the other side have gathered where? In this dharma-kṣhetra or punya bhumi or punya-kṣhetra or a sacred ground called as kuru-kṣhetra. Kuru is the name of the dynasty, correct? Kuru-vamsha. This kshetra belongs to the Kurus and this is supposed to be a very, very, well-known and also a sacred place. And now Dhritarashtra is asking a funny question. Supposing you go to school and come back and I ask you, what do I ask you? I say, hey, Shriniket, you went to school today, no? What did you do? If I ask you, you will laugh at me, isn't it? Why do I go to school? To study, to learn something, to play games, to play matches. So why are you asking me, why did you go to school? So it's a very silly, dumb question, no? To ask anybody after coming back from school, why did you go to school? Correct? But here, Dhritarashtra is asking a silly question like that, we feel. So he is saying, dharma-kṣhetre, kuru-kṣhetre, in this dharma-kṣhetra, in this sacred place called kuru-kṣhetra, okay, people have gathered who want to fight. Samavetā, they have accumulated. There are people who have gathered there, samavetā. Who are they? People who want to fight. Yuyutsavaḥ means those people who want to fight. And among them, who are there? māmakāḥ, my sons are there. Pāṇḍavāśhcha, Pandavas are there. What did they do? He's asking. Kimakurvata sañjaya. What did they do? So, why do you gather the two armies in a battlefield to fight, isn't it? To fight a war. If you ask this question, what did they do? What else are they going to do? So why was the question from Dhritarashtra? What was the reason for Dhritarashtra to ask this question? So we have to understand that even this blind king Dhritarāśhtra knew very well that his sons were not following dharma. And as a king, he could have stopped this war. But then Dhritarāśhtra didn't do anything about it to stop the war. And he had a very, very small hope. What was the hope of Dhritarāśhtra? He knew that Pandavas were people who followed dharma. Pandavas were good people, dharmic people. So he had somewhere one small hope that Pandavas may ultimately go away. Either they will get scared looking at my son's armies, or they themselves may feel, what is the use of fighting this war? And the Pandavas themselves may go away. So hopefully this war will not happen. So probably Dhritarāśhtra had this feeling that maybe the war will not take place at all. No, we sometimes hope for that. No, when something bad is likely to happen, I hope it doesn't happen, we say. Similarly, Dhritarāśhtra was also hoping. He also knows what is happening is not correct. What is happening is not the right thing to do. And his sons are not really doing the right thing. They're doing a very wrong thing by doing this adharma. But still, he had some hope somewhere the war may not take place. And see, the very funny thing is, he is asking Sañjaya, māmakāḥ pāṇḍavāśhchaiva. So Dhritarāśhtra is saying, what did my sons do? What did Pandavas do? Now you can imagine, Dhritarāśhtra is who? He is the uncle of Pandavas. That means, for Dhritarāśhtra, the Pandavas are his younger brother's children. So supposing you have a Doddappa. For Doddappa, that means uncle, chacha, you are like his child only, isn't it? Does he differentiate? Does an uncle differentiate between his children and his brother's children? No, correct? Huh? So for you, Doddappa is as good as Appa. Chikkappa is as good as Appa. Correct? He is like father to us, our uncles. But here, for Dhritarāśhtra, his brother's children should have been like his children. But he never considered them as his children. So he is asking Sañjaya, what are my children doing and what are Pandavas doing? See, this shows that this Dhritarāśhtra, who was supposed to be blind, not only in his eyes he was blind, but he was so blind that he could not even see that Pandavas were his own children, his children also. Correct? Isn't it? So we consider our cousins as our brothers, isn't it? My Chikkappa's son, my Doddappa's son, I consider him an Anna, an Tamma. We say like that. But here, the Kauravas never thought like that. But the Pandavas always felt that these are our brothers. Dhritarāśhtra is like our father, Pitashri, like our uncle. His uncle is like our father. But then, we don't have to bother about those things. He told Dronacharya, hey Acharya, look, who are all there on the other side? Your student Arjuna is there, he said. Your student Bhīma is there, he said. And then he said also that we people from our side, see who all are there. Bhīṣma Pitāmahaḥ, the commander-in-chief is there. You are there, O Dronacharya. Okay? And who else is there? All the other big Maharathis, Athirathis. Who are these Maharathis, Athirathis? They are, that is a kind of a name given like commander, captain, major, colonel, brigadier, like that we give names, no? We give them some, the designations like that. It is said that in this army also, in those days, there used to be Rathis, Athirathis, Maharathis, Ardharathis, all these people were the designation. So he started telling whom? Duryodhana started describing both the armies. And then he still felt that something was wrong somewhere. And he says that in the 10th verse, he said, aparyāptaṁ tadasmākaṁ balaṁ bhīṣhmābhirakṣhitam paryāptaṁ tvidameteṣhāṁ balaṁ bhīmābhirakṣhitam. So balaṁ bhīṣhmābhirakṣhitam, though we are protected by Bhīṣmacharya, it seems Bhīṣmacharya was known for a person who would never lose a war. He was a great warrior. We are protected by Bhīṣmacharya. And there, who's there? People like Bhima are there. Their commander-in-chief is who? And Drishtadhyumna. Drishtadhyumna is their commander. We have not even heard of them. But then, in spite of having so many bold and valorous people on our side, somehow I feel, hey Acharya, our army is aparyāptaṁ. It is not enough. Though their army is small, though there are less number of warriors in their army, I still feel their army is more, strong. It is stronger. Whereas our army is weaker. Why did Duryodhana feel that? Because Duryodhana also knows that wherever Lord Krishna is, there is going to be win, or there's going to be Vijayam there. And he also knows that whatever it is, dharma or the right thing is not on our side. The right thing or dharma is on the sides of Pandavas. They are supporting that. Krishna is there with them. Therefore, he feels a sense of insecurity. Aparyāptaṁ tadasmākaṁ balaṁ bhīṣhmābhirakṣhitam. Our whole army is protected by Bhīṣma, but still, somehow I feel that it is not sufficient enough for us. Bhīṣma understands the insecurity and fear of Duryodhana. So what does he do? He shouts, gives a siṁha-nādaṁ, it is said. Tasya sañjanayan harṣhaṁ kuru-vṛiddhaḥ pitāmahaḥ siṁha-nādaṁ vinadyochchaiḥ shaṅkhaṁ dadhmau pratapavan. 12th verse. So Bhīṣma understood that Duryodhana is slowly becoming now nervous, examination tension, nervousness at the time of exam. So what did he do? To give him that boost, he shouted. What do we do when the game starts? When a game is starting, say a football game, from our side, what do we do? Hey, come on, come on, come on. We make lot of noise, we clap, and we do pee, 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 and all that we do. No, in cricket also we have seen that, no? Why do we do that? We do that so that, we are trying to, sort of encourage these people. Okay, so what did Bhīṣma do? He shouted, gave a big roar like a lion, and he blew his conch. What is the meaning of blowing the conch here? It is said that conch or shankha. Conch is supposed to be a very, very, something which is a very good and a nice and pujaniya vastu. Very sacred it is supposed to be. And whenever we start anything, we start with blowing of the conch, isn't it? Anything auspicious. When we do anything auspicious, it starts with an auspicious sound. And it is said that Shankha-nāda is the most auspicious sound. And whenever we start any puja, whenever we start anything, how do we start? You have heard, no? Even in your temple and everything, that Shankha is blown. And in the war also, Shankha was blown to indicate what? We are ready to start the war. When both the sides blew their conches, it means they considered, Kshatriyas considered the war as an auspicious thing. And what did they do? They blew their conches. That's what he said. And first conch was blown by whom? The eldest of the family, eldest of the Kuru Vamsha. Who was that? Bhīṣma blew his conch. And then it was followed by whom? All the Pandavas and the other Kauravas also blew their conches. And here in the 15th verse and in the 16th verse, there the names of those conches are given. We don't have to worry, but the names of the conches of only Pandavas are given. The Kauravas' conches are not given by names because anyway they are not doing anything auspicious. What they are doing is the wrong thing. Though here these Pandavas along with Krishna considered this war to be a sacred activity because the Pandavas agreed to fight this war to save the society from adharma. They wanted to save the society from adharma. So it was very auspicious for them. And they wanted to start the war with the auspicious sound of Shankha. So in the 15th verse it says, Panchajanyam Hrishikesho Devadattam Dhananjayaha Praudram dadhmau mahā-śhaṅkhaṁ bhīma-karmā vrakodaraha. 16th verse, Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha Nakulasabhadevascha Sughoshamani Pushpakau. We don't have to worry about the names. Only remember the Shankha, the auspicious Shankha of Shri Krishna was called as Panchajanya. There is a story behind it that there was a Panchajanya Asura. He used to hide in a Shankha and nobody knew where he was hiding, this Asura. He used to do all kinds of adharmic wrong things. And it is said that Krishna found out where this Panchajanya Asura was. What had he done? He had actually kidnapped his Krishna's teacher, Sandipani. His teacher's son he had kidnapped. And Sandipani Rishi, his teacher, Bhagavan Krishna's teacher, asked Krishna to pay him Guru Dakshina. In what form? He said, Krishna, free my son from this Asura called Panchajanya. That is my Guru Dakshina from you. So what did Krishna do? As a Guru Dakshina, he found out that this Asura is hiding within a Shankha. And then he brought him out. He killed this Asura. And that Shankha was used by Lord Krishna. And it is said the most auspicious of the Shankha is Panchajanya, which is used by Lord Krishna. And they blew all their conches. And it is said that in the next verse, in the next 19th verse, we'll see, Saghosho dhṛitarāśhtraṇāṁ hridayāni pyadarayat nabhascha prithivīṃ chaiva tumulo vyanunādayan. So all these Shankha-nadas from the Pandavas side, literally it seems tore across the hearts of Kauravas. See, all the Kauravas also, they know that they are not going to win. Deep inside, we all know when we do something wrong, deep inside our mind and heart, we know, Are, nan madid sariyalla, what I have done is not correct. This is not going to give me anything, isn't it? Supposing in the examination, you try to copy from your neighbor. Okay, you may get good marks, but you always have that feeling. Are, I copied and then got these marks. They were not my own marks. So somewhere it will be pricking you. Like that, though these people are greedy people, bad people, adharmic people, still then that fear was there. And it seems all these Shankha-nadas, what happened? All their noise tore across the hearts of all the Kauravas. What is the meaning? More fear. They were so scared that in spite of such a small army and all that, they knew that ultimately Pandavas are going to win. But then it seems in heavens and in earth, everywhere this noise echoed, it seems. When Krishna blows his Panchajanya, that noise or that sound will echo in all the lokas, everywhere. In the entire universe, it seems this whole sound came. Okay. Then what happened? That means with the blowing of the conches, both the sides were ready now to start the fight. And then what happened? Atha vyavasthitaन् drishtva dhṛitarāśhtraन् kapidvajah pravritte shastra sampate dhanurudyamya pāṇḍavāśh. 20th verse. So one interesting thing I have to tell here. Dhṛitarāśhtraन् kapidvajah atha vyavasthitaन्. That means, Arjuna's Ratha had a flag, Kapidvaja, on which who was sitting? Hanuman was sitting. Another 2 minutes, I'll finish. Hanuman was sitting, it seems. Hanuman is where? From Rama's time. From Treta Yuga. Correct? But Hanuman is a Chiranjeevi. He's supposed to be alive in all the yugas. So it seems Hanuman said that he was asked, can you come and help me? Help us in this war. So what Hanuman said was, I can't fight because I have already fought for Rama in the previous yuga. But hey Arjuna, I will sit on your flag, Dhvaja of your Ratha, and I will bless you and I will be a mere observer in this war. So Kapidhvaja, that is why the Dhvaja or the flag which was on the Ratha of Arjuna is called as Kapidhvaja. And so Kapidhvaja is also the name of the Ratha. And what happened? Hanuman was also sitting there, and that Hanuman also looked at the opposite army, and both the armies got ready for the war. So today we'll stop here with the first verse, dharma-kṣhetre, kuru-kṣhetre. What is the meaning of it? How Bhagavan Vyasa introduced the Gita. Then a little bit about various armies. Lot of names are given here. Different people fighting in different armies. We don't have to bother about it. We don't have to remember. We only have to remember that in spite of the small army, Pandava's army was more confident. In spite of the big army, Kaurava's army was not at all confident. They were extremely scared. Now what happened after this? We will see tomorrow. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.